Alright, so this little video here is to go through some of the Octave Online stuff that we were talked about on Friday. And mainly, I want you to take a look at the Matlab Octave commands. There's a lot of good commands here. Kind of go through them, get used to them. We talked about some arrays here, some matrix algebra. And then we go through a little bit more detail in the dot operator and some special cases. And then here's some stuff about plotting. And I think what's important for homework and stuff is that I'm going to be giving you some code for you to run. And so it's important to understand the difference between a script file and a function file. Okay, so a script file is just going to be a text file that you run in the Matlab command window, just as if you were to be typing it live. So here's an example. This is a text file. I'll go ahead and get some spaces in here so you can see it a little better. So what this is doing is it's initializing a vector x, and the first value of x is going to be 1/9, and then we're going to be putting it through the doubling function over and over and over again for part of the chapter 3 experiment. Okay, so this is just saying that xk plus 1 should be the doubling function applied to xk, and then you just run this over and over and over again, and then finally at the end we just plot it. Okay, so if you wanted to change this, if you had another function here that you wanted to use instead of the doubling function, for example, you could have the logistic function. You would just change doubling here to logistic, and then you could just run the logistic function. Good. So to run this code, you would just save it, and over here you just type the name of the file, ch3. Notice that the file all of these files end in .m. Okay, that's really important. And so then we just type in ch3, and it goes through and plots. Now I've kind of blown up the window size here to make it easier to see the commands, but if you can see here what's happening, we start at 1/9, and what does the doubling function do? It doubles it unless it's above 1/2. So this is going to start off as 1/9, then 2/9, then 4/9, then 8/9, and then when you double 8/9, right, you get 16/9, and then you want to subtract 1, so that would be what, 7/9? Oh, wait a minute. What do I lost track of what I was doing. Well, you get the idea. You can try it again. 1/9, 2/9, 4/9, 8/9, 16/9, 7/9. 16/9 isn't the output of the function, right? It goes back to 7/9, and then it goes to 14/9, which is what, 5/9, and then 5/9 goes to 1/9. There it is. So how many points was that? We went through 1, and then 2/9, 4/9. Well, let's just think about the numerators. It was 1, 2, 4, 8, and then 16 went to 7, and then 7 went to 14, but then that goes to 5, and then 5 goes to 10, which is, you subtract 9/9. Okay, you get the idea. If you're not sure, try it out. It's in the chapter 3 discussion. Good. So that's a period 6 point, it looks like. So these are the points that it plots at each iteration. So you can see the traveling around the orbit. But see, that should be a periodic cycle. But however, if you get up to 40 or 50 iterations, somehow things start to go bad and the iterations go to 0 for some reason. And that's why the title of this section is "The Computer May Lie." So take a look at that. Let's take a look at some of these others that you might use. Here's the cobweb function. And so to call the cobweb function, it's, a function file because it starts with the word function in it. Right, so this is a function file because it starts with function. Doubling is a function file because it starts with function. I think the other ones are. Chapter 3 was not a function file because it didn't start with the word function. Okay, so that's how you can tell the difference between a function file and a script file. Okay, so cobweb function is an actual function, and it's going to plot. Oh, by the way, I do see a correction that I had to make down here. This, you should add the line hold off at the bottom, like line 25 or so. Add the words hold off. Otherwise the plot gets messed up when you use this function. Okay, so let's take a look at how this one works. I think driver 1 was using it. And so this is just an example of how you would use some of these functions together. So let's take a look here. So in this case, I'm defining this logistic function. Inline is what that's called. And so the way to define a function then is the function name equals @x, and then the definition of the function. Now, do you remember why we would use a dot when we're multiplying like this? That's in order to make sure that the operation is being done element wise. Okay, and so down here then we have the logistic function with the same initial point. I'm not sure why that was just a happy accident, I guess. So this is the way you would call the cobweb function. You'd call it with the function name, then the starting point, the number of iterations, and then for the plot you want to know what the smallest and largest values of x should be. Okay, so if we save that, down here now we can just type in, notice that driver 1 here is a script file, so we just type in driver 1 and we'll see what comes out. There it is. So this is the, whoops, hopefully I didn't lose you completely here. I'm trying to get my plot to show up better. Oh, but it's not. I've got it. Okay, that might show a little bit more. There it is. And so do you see what's happening there in your cobweb diagram? We see that I think I can get it a little better centered. There we go. So it's starting here, and then it goes to the line, starts there, goes to the line, and then pretty soon it gets sucked into this, it looks like it's some kind of a cycle right there. And so we would have to actually check. So I didn't have the output for this, oops, but we could write the output. In chapter 3, let's see, I'm trying to find my code again. Let me bring this back over again so you can see it. If we do chapter 3, what you could do here is, instead of saying doubling, I think logistic is still going to be defined here. Logistic is here. So now you could say logistic here. And you could get an actual plot of the vector instead of the plot of the cobweb diagram. And so sometimes that helps better. It's better to look at. So let's try the cobweb diagram again, see what we get. Oop, it's just chapter 3 in this case. Good. And now you see what the values of the vector actually are. It looks like they are going to some kind of a cycle. It's just bouncing back and forth between these 2 points. Okay, and so that's how you use the two functions. Similarly, you could use the doubling function in the cobweb diagram. And so the way to do that, you have the doubling function already written here as a function. So if it's written as a script or as a function file like that, instead of the word logistic, notice that the function has this @ symbol in it. Our doubling function over here, the doubling.m, oops, I don't think you can see that. The doubling.m function here does not have an @ symbol on it, right? So that therefore when you're in the driver here, put an @ symbol and then doubling, and this should work. And so let's see if the new driver 1 file will give you the right cobweb diagram. Good, there it is. So it does work. So go ahead and try it out. The iterates file you shouldn't have to change. That's kind of just a function file that is being used. But the other files you can change for the homework any way you want. So, oh, by the way, you can, it is possible to export these files. Yeah, here's you can download the files as or the image files as a PNG file. So that's kind of a handy thing. Or an SVG. I don't know if a lot of software packages like the SVG. So PNG files are pretty universally accepted. So you would choose to use that one. Good. So I didn't want to run this too long. I think that should get you into the homework files. If you want to turn in plots, be sure and just turn in these PNG files. Of course, you know, worst comes to worst, if you can't figure out how to do that, just take a picture of this screen and that'll do for the first chapter homework. After that, we do want to learn how to download these files. Good. So if you do have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in class.